Oops. Welcome to the Lift Heavy Run Long podcast, episode number 128 with April Hilsdon. You can find us at www.liftheavyrunlong.com, on Twitter and Instagram at liftrunlong. Also, feel free to email me directly at the address wilson@liftheavyrunlong.com. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. If you're not a member of our Facebook group, you should be because we want you to be there. Search for Lift Heavy Run Long Community and request to join right now. My name is Wilson Horrell. I am one of your hosts. I want to remind you that the Lift Heavy Run Long podcast is not censored, so listen at your own risk. I also want to remind you that we have an app, and we want you to be on it. For $3.99, you can be part of that app, and you will be subscribed to the Lift Heavy Run Long community, where you will receive 4 barbell strength workouts, 4 WODs, and 3 body weight strength workouts every week, prescribed to you by the one and only Valerie Hunt. You also have full access to Valerie Hunt if you have any questions. For $9.99 a month, you can be part of our full access Lift Heavy Run Long program, where you'll have access to all the programs that we have to offer. Everything from 5K programs to 100-mile programs to triathlons, Spartan races. Whatever you're looking for, chances are we have it.
Do we have a 6K program?
We can get one.
A 6K?
On the new app, we can have one.
6,000 what?
We've got a new app coming, and it's going to be huge. And if you're not on the app, you need to get on the app now, because the people that are on the app will be rewarded for doing so.
For being on the app before the new app comes
Yep.
out.
Yep. And the people that got in early are under a pioneers group, where they're locked in. Like,
They got like a lifetime rate.
It's like
I would like to
grandfathered
think
in
so.
for life.
Yeah. Yep. And, I don't know what that will mean, but I think ultimately that could be pretty cool.
We're going to make some shit up.
One day, somebody will be like, these guys are charging this much, and I'm still paying $3.99 a month.
Exactly.
So,
We'll have a special badge beside their name.
speaking of special, the woman sitting to my right is special.
Their profile picture will have like a little Daniel Boone hat on it or something. Because they're pioneers.
Can we go back to my wife? You just cut me off in the middle of a compliment.
Jeez, Brian.
My lovely wife. That's rude.
This is like the most important part of the show.
Say you're sorry. Say you're sorry.
He doesn't know. He has no manners.
He doesn't have any manners.
He's a dream crusher.
Dream crusher.
I'm surprised he even lets you even speak to him.
I'm the resident asshole. So.
My beautiful wife, Dr. Amanda Kimsey Horrell, Jackson Tan. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing better. How are you?
I'm good. We hated that we missed you last week.
I know, I was so sad.
I was
But
off
y'all
my
wouldn't want to
game.
hear me hacking up.
Did you watch us?
I haven't
Were we
yet.
funny?
I haven't.
She was too sick to watch. I mean, she was
I
sick.
just really
dude.
have gotten better like a day and a half ago. I'm kind of back up to speed.
We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
We're
Glad
also
to be back.
glad to have April Hilsdon.
Yay.
What a treat. This is going to be so much fun. I know that you watch the podcast.
Right.
So you kind of know how it works. We go around and ramble about nothing, and you're welcome to participate in as much of that as you like. And then we'll turn the spotlight on you and dive deep into your personal life and just pull out all the skeletons from the closet. We have Sean inside the house, Sean Hilsdon,
Right.
who is probably watching the children. And
Probably not. I bet
Probably
Andy Kate
not.
is watching the children.
He's
He's eating your Christmas cookies.
He's probably eating my Christmas cookies, trying on my underwear. There's just no telling what he's doing. But most of y'all know Sean from either being on the podcast or the race director for the Big Hill Pond, or you've seen him out winning races, because that's what he be doing.
Yeah.
He's kind of fast.
He's an animal.
But
He
of
is-
cour's he's got some competition.
Yeah, his
in-
wife's
We're
kinda
going to get to
fast,
that.
too.
And I'm curious to know about how that works in the relationship.
competitive
if that's
they are.
if
No,
that's a
I'm the
problem.
prettier Hilsdon. That's what I usually
There's no
say.
doubt
Yes.
about that.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to
Not
question
the
that.
fast one.
Performance-wise, we're about the same, but I'm pretty.
Well, even if he is faster, you'll still be viewed as the better Hilsdon.
Yes,
How's
yes.
that?
I'd like to think so.
But is that a problem? Do
What?
y'all is the competitive side of things?
Yes, we are so competitive.
Are you really?
Yes, all the time, especially at turkey trot. So, turkey trot.
That's an interesting race
This,
to pick to
yes,
be like the competitive
it is because we always have to have the kids with us. That's the one race where we can't really get a sitter, where we just have to have the kids with us. So he'll run with a double stroller, and I would just run with just me before we had Maddie, and he would still beat me every single year with a double stroller. And it would make me so mad. And then we had Maddie, and so I would push Maddie, and he would push the two kids, and he still beat me. So one year, the kids are going to weigh enough to weigh him down, so he can't beat me at turkey trot.
Well, what he hasn't told you is that he's actually motorized the stroller, and he just kind of jumps on the back like a
I
little.
think the kids actually get out at some point in the race, and they say, "Okay, Dad, we'll meet you at the finish
Right.
line, and we'll get back in."
When they're 13, just put them in like a grocery cart. Like, yeah.
Next to April, we have the Reverend Vaughn Rawls.
Here I am.
How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Good.
Did you tickle yourself with that comment?
I did.
Does that make you laugh?
I've been doing that a lot lately.
What's new?
What is new?
That's what I said.
It's almost Christmas,
Yeah?
Yeah.
and my daughter, the 21-year-old, sent me Weezer and Pixie tickets for Christmas.
Wow!
So I'm
That's
pretty
awesome.
stoked
Well,
about
you weren't
that.
so subtle on Facebook when you were like, "Please, Santa Claus" or
Well,
something
I
like
didn't
that.
expect my daughter to buy those.
Way
for
to go,
me, so,
Abby.
Good job,
That's
Abby.
awesome.
Yeah.
So by the time this comes out, it will be the day after Christmas.
It sure will.
I don't know what that means, but I wanted to point it out.
Well,
I'm aware of that.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Hope you had a good day.
Big Thirsty,
Yes, sir.
we have you back behind the camera. The ladies
I know.
couldn't take it.
Well,
It was too much.
and I did such a terrible job of manning the camera while I was not behind the camera that I needed to be back in my place so that I could do the proper recording.
No, you did a great job. You didn't miss much.
Did we get any recording from the camera?
Yeah.
Oh.
There was only a small section that was missed.
Oh, see, I thought you, in the show, you guys were making me think that I'd like forgotten to turn it on ever in the first place, and I was like, oh great, like it only got recorded like the last 10 minutes of the show.
No. Well, it wouldn't have made any difference because my falling on my face overshadowed any error that you would have made, seeing as how I left the name placard on as Steve Wilk for Lisa Barker's podcast, which I will be changing tomorrow.
I saw that.
Thank you. Yeah.
I was going to say something.
He's like, oh, that's
Anybody who
wrong.
saw it, let me know so I can.
Well, I didn't want to let you know because
Everybody
I know it makes you
assumed
mad.
this is that time. Instead of everybody telling you, everybody assumed somebody else told you.
Yeah.
My
That's what happened this time.
thing with Wilson is I'm not ever going to say anything about it because the problem is if I had a problem with it, I would have just done it myself to begin with. Like, you know what I mean?
I
So
kind of feel like that's the
that's-
kind of thing you
that's
should have
the-
had a problem with, though.
I don't have a problem with anything. If I did, I would just fix it.
Let's get it out. Whatever problems y'all have with me, spit it out. Let's talk about it.
You keep trying to talk me into doing races I don't want to do.
Congratulations on the Tunnel Hill 100.
I laughed so hard when I saw that post to Steve Wilk, congratulating him on signing up for the race.
Did you know
that tickled
immediately
me.
that he
that
had
he had
signed?
not signed up yet.
Oh no, I knew immediately as well. And I
Oh,
was
I
like,
thought you talked him into
No,
it.
the fact that Wilson was congratulating him, I knew that he hadn't yet signed up
Oh.
for it. So
and I just know he's going, man, I do not want to do that.
I bet you $100 he does it.
He probably will.
I know he will.
see, my problem is, I got you in one ear and I got Dawn in the other ear.
Yeah,
so.
you got it. I mean, you don't want to do that to Dawn. That's ugly. You need to run with Dawn. You owe it to
So-
Dawn to run with her. You owe it to us. You owe it to the podcast
You
listeners.
don't have to. I mean, you can just pace her. She
Vaughn,
needs
you're totally
pacers.
negating what I'm trying to do here.
Keep talking, Vaughn.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm trying to be the voice of.
I, at
Logic,
this point,
I
have
don't know.
committed that I will be there for her that weekend. I'm not sure yet in what capacity.
We will too.
Yep.
Me and April are both going to help with Dawn.
We're on the crew team,
Yep.
but there's a discount code, so it's going to
Yeah.
expire soon.
There
I'm one of
is.
those where I'm always
Yep.
about the discount.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go
That's
ahead
how I
and sign
signed
up
up
for
last
it.
year. I signed up last
It
year
expires
discount.
on the 31st, I think, and you can get the 100 for $175.
Oofa.
Actually, they screwed up the coupon on that.
I
and
saw
then they
that.
sent another email, and you get 15% off with that, which makes it $170, which it may as well be $175. But, that's still more of a discount now than what you had before. So.
By the way, Vaughn, you trying to be the voice of reason, Dawn just threw you under the bus and said you're running too.
Oh, I'm running the 100. Yeah.
You're running the 100 next year?
I've already told her. I told her that if she ran it, I would run it. Yeah.
There's no bus to throw him under. You're the one that needs to get on the bus.
I would drive a bus that's going over Vaughn.
That's right. I'm glad. And he would honk. He would toot the horn as you came over. Boop, boop. Out of the way, Reverend.
Oh.
I want to go back to my Lisa Barker foul up. I'm so embarrassed. Of all people, Lisa.
Well, okay, but of all
I
people,
don't think
she's going to
anyone-
be the one
She
that gives
would be
zero
the most
shits about it.
understanding.
I don't think anyone
She's
noticed.
she's probably
I don't-
laughing about it and didn't think twice about it.
She was so gracious and she was so excited about being on the podcast. And here we are. It's like, here's your put together show.
Here's your 10
With
seconds of fame, and we
Steve
screwed it up.
Welk. I was
Well,
so
it's a
mad.
podcast,
and then I didn't
so-
put her last. Yeah, that's true. Nobody watches it on YouTube.
But not a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Some people do. You could say like 60 to 75 people watch it on YouTube, but like then 500 people listen to it. So there's that. I mean, and I barely noticed it. Like
I didn't put her when I was doing the. I didn't put her last name in WordPress when I was making the post. I
Right.
can't remember what I had going on where it wasn't a normal flow of a day.
That's perfectly
And I didn't put her last name, so when it came out, it came across my feed and it said LHRL number 127. Lisa is available, and it looked like Lisa is single. Like Lisa is on the market. I was like, oh man. So I just totally botched that.
We are so much more professional than probably 75% of podcasts that are out there on the market.
And I think you're being conservative with that.
And I
75% number.
probably am being conservative, to be perfectly honest.
I know what it was. It's when I kicked you off your couch for me to crash out on the couch when I came home sick, and you had to do it at the kitchen table, probably. Were you working on it?
Yep.
Look at your wife throwing herself under a bus to
Aw.
give you an out for.
I did. I came home
That's
sick
right.
and took over the couch.
Okay.
Sorry,
you get into
Lisa.
a flow,
Do
you
we
used
need to do a group hug? Or
Right. As long as Lisa's okay, then I'm okay. I worry about stuff.
and
else we got?
that's what makes you the awesome person that you are. That you do worry about it and that you do give a shit. But I think Lisa's going to be the type of person that is totally understanding.
She'll forgive me. Lisa loved me. I love Lisa.
She would have never known unless.
And by the way, she is watching.
Good.
Hi, Lisa.
okay.
Hi, Lisa.
We got a review.
Yay!
No way.
It's about time.
It's about damn
We
time.
went the whole week last week without one.
Hopefully, it's not the one that I wrote.
No, it's not the one that my aunt was writing either. And she wrote it on the couch. I bet she must not have hit submit right. I took her phone.
Do you think maybe there's somebody at Apple that's sabotaging us? Like they're
That
eating
doesn't
some
like
of
us.
our 5-star reviews?
Yeah.
They're not like releasing them for us to see them?
Yeah.
That there's like tens of thousands of them out there?
It's been that way my whole life.
Do not get me started on
I'm a victim.
Apple and iTunes.
Yeah.
That was-
I can talk for an hour about how they're ignoring us.
You missed your chance. Last week was our technology episode. Last week we spent an hour talking about Amazon. You could have talked about Apple and iTunes then.
Oh my gosh.
If anybody listened last week, we apologize for what we'll be doing for weeks to come. 5-star review. 5-star fun is the name of it by Punk7. This is such a great group of individuals sharing their fitness journey, the good and bad. I appreciate the openness of their sharing. It is encouraging and motivating. This is also a comedy fitness podcast. The hosts are fun and I laugh along with them each episode. I listen to a variety of podcasts and I like how this one talks about races local to me. Thanks for the quality podcast. I hope to meet some of you at Herb Parsons or Swamp Stomper.
Oh, wow.
I really appreciate that he said it's a funny fitness podcast.
I do too.
Yeah. That means a lot to me.
It is. What else we
I
got?
don't know who that person was, by the way.
I do, and I can't think of the name because they said I hope to meet you at Herb Parsons or Swamp Stomper.
Well, I'll see
I think
him.
I'm making that connection
Swamp
too
Stopper.
because someone had said they were going to be there, and then I commented and said you're going to be there, but I don't remember. I don't know that that's the same person. Punk 7.
Yeah, it could be any number of people.
Right.
Anywho, so I need some intro music
For what?
for hypothetical situations.
We're going to do that now?
Are we going to? Well, I didn't know when we were going to do that. I've been so, and the hypotheticals are hard because I want to make sure I have one every week, but I also want to just do hypotheticals all the time.
Well, we can't just sabotage our fine guests'
Well,
appearance.
that's why I think we do the hypothetical before we throw it to the guest. That's where I was going.
Okay,
with it.
let's do the hypothetical and lead off with our guest answering the hypothetical.
There you go.
And then that will just segue into our guest.
Hypothetical.
Wow.
Hypothetical. Hypothetical.
That's very Wayne's World. I like it.
Oh my God.
I'm going to cut that and insert it into every week's podcast. That's how I'm going to
That
do
was
it.
fan. I can't believe I didn't put the camera on him while he was doing that.
Oh.
All right, let's see what I have. I can't even remember what I came up with. I didn't spend a lot of time.
I sent you one last week after the recording.
No, you did not. Did you?
Remember the meme in Slack?
No.
In Slack,
No. Can you
come
find
come to a fork in a road, and one is leads to the fountain of the youth, and the other leads to unlimited bacon.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I figured that was, I mean, everybody's going to say bacon. If the option. Not you? Okay.
What kind of bacon? Is it like Wright's brand bacon?
It's the kind with the pepper on the side.
Whatever kind you
The
want.
thick cut with the pepper on the sides.
Yeah. Yeah, we're real picky about our bacon.
Y'all eat a lot of bacon?
We eat a lot of bacon. Yes,
Who doesn't eat a lot of bacon?
yeah. I do all the grocery shopping, and so I'm
Vegans.
always buying like the cheapest clearance, woohoo, on sale. But when it comes to bacon, Sean's like, no, you got to get Wright's brand.
Is y'all's nutrition on point all the time?
Not right now.
Yeah.
No, but for the most part, it usually is. Usually we eat healthy from January to November, and then December we're just like, screw it, I don't care.
Ah, well, but y'all are pretty disciplined, obviously, then. I mean, you can eat
We
well.
try. It's hard with kids because they don't, they just want macaroni and cheese and peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I
Which
want.
is
That's
great.
all I want.
I
too.
mean,
Yeah.
I could live off
That's a
macaroni
great
and cheese
excuse. I'm just gonna eat this macaroni and cheese
Yeah.
tonight.
and peanut butter and jelly.
And if they don't finish their food, we're like, well, those calories don't really count.
Yeah. Sometimes I tell them not to finish their food. Like you've had enough, and then I take it from them.
I'm
It's
honest. You
hard
don't
for
really
my
want
kids
that.
to eat their food before I eat. It's actually the way it goes.
When you go to a restaurant and you're just
Don't eat my food.
banking on them being full before.
Daddy,
time
can
to
I
go.
please finish my own meal
Can
tonight?
I just please have something to eat?
Always yelling at him, trying to teach him manners, what not to do, and then I'm like reaching over the table, like, grabbing
You gonna eat
his
that?
burger and throwing it back at him. All right, here's my hypothetical. I worked really hard on this. This is next level stuff. If you were on the last 2 miles of a race and you were in second place and then came across your opponent who was in first place, confused and ill on the side of the trail, if you do not stop, you will win first place. However, your opponent will spend the night in the hospital. If you do stop and give her aid, she will catch up with you and beat you at the end. Either way, she will not remember that you helped her.
Oh, you have to stop and help. That's just
Yeah.
good karma.
I agree.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
I wouldn't want to win like that. I wouldn't feel good about
Nobody's
winning.
going to know.
I would know.
Nobody's gonna.
She's not going to die,
But she's going to spend the night in the hospital.
but she's not going to remember that you were part of that.
Yeah, but I would know. No, I wouldn't want to win like that. I'd want to win like knowing that I beat her like on my own principles, not just because
Yeah.
she was having a really bad race and she was struggling.
She was in first place.
Yeah.
But I don't have those, I want to win any way I can win. But I would never be in second place, so whatever.
Wilson helps everybody. He comes along because he wants to be the dead last finisher.
I'm
He
about
doesn't
an
want
hour-
somebody screwing up him being the last guy on the
He's like,
race.
I'm about an hour ahead of time. Do you need some help?
This guy's gonna be like, I'm just tying my shoe, man. You go on. You go on.
What about you, Vaughn?
I would help the person.
Think
I
so?
Yeah. And
Is that a dumb question? Would
I
everybody
do
say that?
not think it's a dumb question. In fact, I would venture to say if it was a road marathon, I probably wouldn't even notice.
Yeah.
That's true.
Right.
But if we're in the woods,
Yeah, if it's a trail,
and it's a 50-mile or a 100-mile race or something, I would definitely stop.
And I think
There's no question.
I think all of us are good enough people that we really would stop and help the person. And I think that is the answer you would get from everybody that you ask the question.
100%.
But I think reality would actually be different for some people.
Yeah, maybe for
Not
some
for
people.
anybody in this room.
But I think since we just ran the St. Jude Marathon, and I tried to actually talk to people, like, are you okay? Like, people that are doubled over, hey, man, you need anything? Like, are you all right? And they just like,
Yeah,
like,
road
look
marathons
at
are
me like,
so
what?
different.
Why is this person even speaking to me? And I was like, man, I'm just okay. It's cool. Like, I'll just keep my mouth shut and keep my head down and run this marathon. But it's totally not that way
Right.
in the woods, for sure.
Yeah, I think that like misery is part of the culture of road running. What about you, Thirsty? You're saying that you would help the person?
Oh, he
definitely.
would jump on her back. I told you weren't going to win this race. That's what I do.
He would podium on top of her.
I would
really
help
a
her,
shame.
and then when she went to climb on the podium, I would remind her that she was only there because I helped her. Because that would
the
be
most
reality.
honest answer.
That
yes.
would be the reality check that I would have to deliver.
I told you shouldn't have eaten all that pizza last night.
Me standing over talking to her about her nutrition, what you should have done differently. That's great. You want to tell me, just name 2 people that you wouldn't stop for. Just 'cause you don't like it. Just whisper it. Just mouth it to me. You don't have to say it out loud.
Hey, let's do that. Let's go. Do you have 2 people that you just would never stop for?
Oh, yeah.
The answer
Yeah.
is yes.
Yes, absolutely. Hell, y'all know my 2 people.
I know at least one of them. You know what?
Oh, Amanda. Amanda just lost it.
I don't know. Honestly.
Oh my God.
All right, we're not going any
We need to stop this conversation.
Somebody's going to mention a name.
Next.
Yeah. Let's not go any further. I'm like sweating.
Boy, howdy.
All right, let's see if this may have been the same one. You're having the race of your life and close to the front. The race director urges you to take a shortcut, cutting approximately 5 miles off of your 50K and giving you an extra aid station. No one will ever find out.
No, you got.
We're going to start with, we'll go ahead. We'll go in order.
Sorry.
No.
No, I need my mileage. I need my mileage on my watch, and I need it. I can't.
It will be on your watch. Your mileage will show up on your watch.
But I'm cutting
the
5
total.
miles off.
Yeah, but it magically. It's magic. Part of the hypotheticalness of this is the magic. The race director is magic.
I don't think so. I think I need to know I ran that 5 miles for real.
Yeah,
April?
I'm same. I'm one of those. My mileage has to be an even number. Yeah,
Yep.
and otherwise I'll just be doing a lap around the parking lot
Yep.
until I get there.
Yeah, I get that.
You know, it's so funny. Like when I go to a race, I don't generally care about what my Garmin finally reads. Like I know I ran the race, and if my Garmin's high or low, then it is what it is. But, you know, as much as I'm the dream crusher for other people, every single time my distance is short, I'll like post something. One of my brothers is going to come in and be like, "What? You didn't finish the race? You know, like, oh wow, too bad it didn't count since you didn't run the whole distance." You know, like just every single time they will bust my balls about it. So
Boy, that's a hard one. The race director is in charge, right?
Yeah, he's doing his
Just
thing.
like, hey,
Come on, man.
Come on over
It's
here.
good. I got this.
I need you to take that trail for cut 5 miles off this race.
It's good. I got you an aid station just all for you.
I wouldn't do it, but I would be very tempted to do it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't do it.
I would ask him if I could
how
hang out
long
the
is
aid
the
station.
race?
How long is the race?
How long is the race?
It's a 50. This one's 50K.
Okay, you
The
know what?
problem-
I'm going to be so out of it at that point that I'm just going to assume he's telling me the correct way to go.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be to blame for the
That's what I was
fact
going
that
to say. Like, if it was like a 100-mile race and the race director approached me and goes, hey, man, I need you to go that way, I'd probably be like, okay. I'm going to go
just
that
wouldn't even
way.
think twice about
And
it.
then if I never knew because my watch said 100 miles, I'd be like, well, no, man, the race director told me where to go. He made sure I didn't get lost.
So a 50-mile race, you'd be more apt to do that. It's not necessarily the principle as much as you can handle the 50K better than you can handle just your exhaustion would.
Yeah, I think the exhaustion would take.
level of
I'm
fatigue.
with Vaughn. I mean, I literally think at that point, like if somebody official was telling me you need to go this way, I wouldn't question it.
I guess
Remember, we just saw the homeless lady in the woods hallucinating. Like we saw her, that ghost, running next to us. And then you see the race director who's like, hey, go this way. You're like, I'll go that way. Whatever way you tell me
the
to go.
topic of marathon banditing and people cutting courses and things like that came up, and I just was thinking about what makes a person do that, and I guess I understand why. There's different reasons.
I mean, there are people who spend, like, as much of a data nerd as I am and a spreadsheet guy as I am, there are people who download all, like, major, like, Boston qualifier type races, and they do analysis
And they're
on
like,
people's
there's
results.
no way this person ran
and
that.
they find the anomalies where,
and
like,
they catch them too.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
they report them, and it's amazing how many of those people. Now, if you go to some small town, 50 people ran at race, and it's a certified course, you might get through and not get caught. But if you go to one of the major races that's kind of known to be a fast course, especially if there's a spot on the course that could be cut in some way or another.
I don't know which one I find more bizarre: the people who cut the course, or the people who go in search of the people who cut the course.
I mean, you call me a dream crusher. The internet's full of dream crushers. Like
that's
people want to go out there and they want to find the person
It's called
that's
Twitter.
cheating, and they want to be the one to call them out and be like, I'm calling bullshit on you did not go from running a 5.5 hour marathon 2 months ago to running a 3:15 last week at such and such race.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. I mean, there's a certain amount of anomaly that's allowed, or that's probably legitimate, I'll say. But then
When you say anomaly, you mean just having a good day and it
yeah.
just happened to-
Yeah, I mean, I could go from running a 3:30 marathon and 2 months later running a 3:05 or a 3:10 probably. I mean, I think that if the weather was right, if
What?
Nutrition was right.
if
I
nutrition
agree.
was
Course
right,
was
oh
easier.
The
yeah.
course was easier, a lot more downhill.
Who's running a 3:05 marathon?
He's just giving
Not
an
me.
example.
Oh, I was like, what are you talking about?
Dang,
You
you
were saying
guys.
you could go from a 3:30 to a 3:05.
I've never even run a sub 4.
that was what I was.
No. I
Yeah,
was
they're like
just, I'm
attacking
sorry.
Brian. You can't run that fast.
Yeah, see, this is how the
shut
internet works. This is exactly how it works. There's no way you could run a 3:05. No, I'm saying, like, in general, like, if a person if a person 2 months ago ran a 3:30 and then they showed up to another race, this weekend and ran a 3:05, that's close enough that, if their nutrition was better this time, if the course was easier, if the weather was better, that you could be that much faster in a race to the point that you were able to qualify. But you're not going to, like, knock an hour off of your race
Yeah.
in 2 months. Not likely, anyways.
Dawn during the Tunnel Hill 50 miler jokingly, but it was a realistic statement. She said we weren't quite at the halfway point. I guess we were probably at like mile 20 or something. And she said, if you keep up at this pace, you're going to have a 6-hour PR. And she wasn't far from the truth, but
Right.
that's how much margin I have for,
Right.
if I shave.
One of these days, that race that you always go out. You say yourself, you go out really fast or whatever, and then you eventually just kind of slow down. But one of these days, you're just going to keep going,
Maybe.
and you're going to have that 6-hour PR, and people are going to be like, "You went all the way to the end of the course, right?" And then turned around.
All joking aside, though, you are getting better.
I don't know. You
Right?
think?
No, you are.
I
I
don't
think
know.
so.
There's
Like,
hard
just
to
zero
tell.
doubt. Zero doubt. And I will say that even if your time isn't improving, your mentality and
Yes.
how
Yeah.
you feel after the
Yeah.
race is improving. So you are getting better,
Yeah.
whether your time improves or not.
I'm much more comfortable finishing races, and I don't go out as fast anymore. Yeah, I'm learning to run races a little bit better. I enjoy them more. How's that?
That's good.
And then I think you get done faster when you're smarter about it.
I think you're right, and I would not take the race director's shortcut because it does mean so much to me to be out there for an extended period of time.
Right.
You want to get your money's worth.
I want to get my time out of it. I need to get my exhaustion out of it. I think that there is nothing in the world that I would enjoy more than to finish Sillamore in 5 hours and wait on people to finish that were going to take 9 or 10 hours and sit out there and just drink beer. I think that would be awesome. Like, I think about you finishing, just hanging out and drinking beer, and I'm like, that would be so awesome.
It is pretty awesome.
You know how you can finish in 5 hours? Do the 25K.
Which is the reason why I don't do the 25K, because I don't have any business sitting out there and drinking beer for the next 4 hours. So if I'm going to do something like that, I might as well be out there for as long as possible. So what I'm saying is that's the only reason I don't win these things. That's the only reason I don't finish in 5 hours, because I don't want to get drunk out there.
Okay.
So it's nice to be out there and know that, I'm out here for the day.
Gavin May says it is awesome to run a race that fast.
That's funny. All right, April, we are on you. Are you from here?
I'm from Millington.
Are you really?
Yeah.
And you and Sean have been dating since like preschool.
We've known each other since preschool.
Did
That
y'all
picture
date
you
the whole way
posted
through?
is so cute.
I love those
Yes.
pictures. You guys post that, I think, every year on your anniversary.
On
And
his
I always
birthday.
love that picture.
Yeah,
Or his birthday.
We went to elementary school together, and it's funny you say that, because I work in healthcare, so I'm around a lot of older people who ask, questions, and this one guy said, "Where are you from?" And I said, "I'm from Millington." And he's like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "I'm from Millington." He's like, "What about your family?" It's like, "They're from Millington too." And he kind of looks at me for a second. He's like, "You don't look like you're from Millington." So that's why when you asked me where I was from, that just.
Sorry, am I not redneck enough?
But yes, from Millington, born and raised,
Oh, you were born in Millington.
just outside of Millington, in Memphis.
Okay, well you've got your tattoo.
Yes, I do.
As soon as I said that, I thought maybe her parents are listening. She's not supposed to have a
No,
tattoo.
no.
Well, we're beyond that, I'm sure. Hopefully.
I do have a fun tattoo, yes, that says "Made in China." But I was born in April, and my parents always went back to China in the summertime. So I think the timing works
So
out.
you were actually made.
So I believe I was made in China.
That's even better.
That's awesome.
Either way, this was a bad decision. It wasn't one of those like, oh, this is going to be a great tattoo that I can't wait to show my kids. So
Yep, I've got my bad decision tattoo on my hip. It's a fat guy
that
laying
your
on his
tramp
back
stamp?
drinking beer.
It's really funny.
It's really funny. And
I think you should post a picture of it.
I'm just gonna show it.
Just show it to the camera right now.
Wait, that's a whole other segment.
That's different music, different segue. My nephew, my brother and his wife adopted a child from China, and Andy, when she was probably, 6 or 7, she said something about Archer, who was too young to speak, and she said, "Archer doesn't speak because he was made in China." He doesn't speak English because he was made in China. So you and Sean, at what point did y'all, if you haven't been together for...
Oh, we started dating when I was 17. I was in high school.
Okay.
So, and then we dated off and on through college and got married 10 years ago. So we've been together for like half my life.
Y'all act like it. Y'all are such a good couple. Y'all do so well. I told
Power
Amanda,
couple.
I said, I like the way that April and Sean interact with each other. I like the way that April handles Sean, because I feel like it's much the same way that Amanda handles me, which is just kind of like, just do,
Exactly.
we're going to try to keep you in line, but just,
Yeah,
lets
yeah.
me do what I do, and you're
Yeah.
not like overbearing on
Yeah.
him.
He is his own free spirit. So,
Y'all are fun to be around. Like it seems like a lot of couples at races, like fitness couples, are real kind of yeah.
yeah.
Like argue. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah.
Am I
I've
alone?
never noticed that.
I feel like they're
Give us
just,
some examples.
Name some names.
No, I do have
well,
a
one
good
of those
example.
two people that I was
I was
talking
gonna say that we go back to those two people.
But no, I see what you're saying. We at the race we did lookout this weekend, and we don't run together for obvious reasons. But there was a couple that was running in front of me, and the guy was trying to get his girlfriend or wife to get something out of his pack, and he's like, "No, the little zipper, the little zipper." I said the little, and you could tell that he was getting
Yeah.
worked up, and she's like, "I'm trying to get the little zipper, but it's not zipping." And so they were, on the side of a mountain fighting. I was like, oh no.
Oh my gosh, that
That's-
would never work
that's-
with me and my wife.
That's why we don't run together.
Yeah.
It's not enjoyable.
No. If my wife started running, I would be like, we wouldn't be running races together for sure. Yeah.
Have you always ran?
No, I didn't start until 2014. I just
No
had,
kidding.
yeah.
Man, that just makes me hate you that much.
Yeah, no.
more.
No,
You know what? Go.
So
You're
Man,
one of the two
she's
people.
not one of those two people for me. That's right.
I'm just letting you know.
no, we had Garrett, and he was 6 months old, and then we had Mitchell, who was 2.5. And I kind of got in that rut where I felt like I needed to do something. I was just really antsy, and it felt like something was missing. But I kind of felt guilty for thinking that way because I had 2 kids, I had a husband, I had a job. I thought, what else am I going to need right now? But I needed to sign up for something. I needed to do something. So I decided to try to run a half marathon. And that's kind of how it all started.
That's crazy.
Were you out of shape at this point in time? I mean, has fitness always been a priority in your life?
I think ever
On some
since I
level?
started working in healthcare, and you probably see a lot of this too. You see what happens
Yeah.
if you don't take care of yourself, if you eat biscuits and gravy for breakfast every morning, and you don't lead an active lifestyle. So ever since I started working in healthcare, I tried to work out at the gym, but mainly I would just go to classes and hang out with people. It was more of a social thing than actually being healthy and working out. So when I signed up for the half marathon, I started Googling all these half marathon training plans, and I found one that I really liked. So I started putting the miles in, and then I got hooked up with the DRC. And so that's kind of where it all got serious for me, I guess. You know, I met Gary and Kathy Owens and like a lot of our running family, and there were so many people that were really passionate about running. It just kind of became contagious, and I fell in love with it. So
Sean followed you in the footsteps of running then?
yes.
Okay.
I guess so. I think he had always wanted to run too, but at that time he was a little bit heavier. So, you know, once I did my half marathon, he thought, okay, well, maybe I could do this too. And so he started running, and we were both running with the DRC at that point. And then he just kind of took off too.
Cool.
How many people owe Gary and Kathy Owens a debt of gratitude for?
They're like
wow.
the
The
gatekeepers.
DRC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they really have kept that thing together. Is it still going?
Yeah, I think so. It's evolved a lot from what it was, but you know, in the beginning, we had training groups, and we would always talk about, I learned my nutrition, my hydration, what to wear, what not to wear, and they were so supportive. Everybody in the group was so supportive that it just made you want to come out there. It made you want to be a part of those runs.
Yeah, I ran with them quite a few times, and there's just all different levels, and Gathy.
Kathy, that's a good
That would be a good one
That's
for
their,
them.
that's their celebrity couple name.
Yes.
Kathy.
They're
Or maybe
both
it's
so
maybe it's Garthy.
Garthy.
Carthy,
Kathy.
Gathy.
I like
Gary,
Gathy.
Gary and Kathy were so supportive, so nice, and everybody gravitates toward them anyway. That they've really gotten a lot of people moving.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, being in healthcare, that's what's important. How long have you been in healthcare?
For a little over 10 years. So, and on the other side of things, I think you see how easily things could change for you because you see people who've been in car accidents, or they have some, crazy autoimmune disorder, or just you see how easily it could all go south and how quickly it would happen. So I think that's another reminder of, okay, I'm healthy. I can get up and I can walk, I can run. I might as well do what I can now and see what my limits are. So that's another reason why I kind of like to push myself.
Are you naturally comfortable as a runner?
I feel
I
comfortable.
mean,
I like it.
you run really well. Like when you run, it looks like what you would see on a
And
commercial.
She's one of those annoying people that's always got a smile on her face too when she's running.
Yeah.
Like I think at Tunnel Hill, I saw a painful smile coming back down the hill. But still, you're still one of those very happy people. You like if you see somebody you're smiling, you're
Yeah.
saying hey, you're just very friendly out there. And
I
stuff
love
like that. And
on the trail meeting April. She's always ahead, of course. And so when we meet, I'm just like, oh. So she's like, hey, April. It makes you smile because she's always smiling.
Doesn't that make such a difference?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always been a kind of a happy person.
Yeah.
So, but you're always smiling. I've noticed in every single one of your race pictures, Wilson has this huge smile on his face.
I'm usually happy to be there.
Yeah, you can tell.
That's my time that I'm probably, oddly enough, I'm probably happiest there in a very odd way. You know, that's
even in suffering, you're grateful to
Yeah.
be able to suffer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not always smiling, but even in that's some of my happiest times of reflection. We recently did a 24-hour race where April ran. First of all, it's hot. It was
Yes.
super duper hot.
So hot.
And April ran 50 miles and then got in a car and went to a Chris Hope's 10K and won her age group at the 10K.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah, I was super impressed with that, and I think also Big Hill Pond, like you.
Oh yeah, she
Like,
killed
just like-
Big Hill Pond.
You seem like you're just crushing it. Like, and I wonder, like, was there a point where, like you said, you ran your first half marathon in 2014? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And so now, do you look back and you go, "Wow, this is something I'm really good at"?
What
Like,
she didn't tell
holy-
you is she
like,
won that race that first half.
Right. Like, you're probably so, but you know what I mean? Like, you're doing really well, and like people don't go run their first half marathon and then 3 years later, 4 years later, they're like completely crushing
The field.
ultra marathons.
Oh, well, thank you.
You know what I mean? Like, do you think about that? Do you go like, man, it was really weird that I ran that, that I thought running that first half marathon was kind of a big deal, and now I'm like, what? And what do you think about next year? Like what's the future? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's
So,
weird, isn't it? Like,
I mean, I felt like I've been doing pretty well, and I've been really happy with how the season has been. But I just finished Lookout 50 this weekend.
Yeah.
So, and which was beautiful. It was gorgeous, but it was the hardest race I've ever done. I barely made cutoff. I was 14th from last place. So it was, and, it was a really, I think it was a painful, but it was a good experience for me.
If you were 14th at last place, that must be a race.
do you look for something hard like that? Do you think you're like maybe, are you consciously looking for something like, okay, so far I'm cruising through this stuff. Now I need to go do something like Lookout Mountains.
Not necessarily, but in the Barkley marathons, you guys have all seen that?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So Laz talks about how ultra marathoners, they seem like they like to take risks, that they like to go out there and see what they can do. But overall, they're very calculated people because they think about how they're going to start a race. They think about their nutrition and their hydration, and they are careful planners. But at the Barkley marathons, that's not something that you can plan for. And that whole chance that you could fail is kind of exciting.
Right.
And so I think a part of that is out there, like, okay, well, I want to, if I'm not going to be able to do this, I want to see how it goes. So Lookout was about that. And I've had this other race on my mind, the Love It 100K, that I've been thinking about too. So I don't know. I was kind of waiting to see how Lookout went before I signed up for it, but it's still out there for me. It's the weekend after Sillamore. And I feel like that would be my peak distance right now. And so I'm just kind of waiting for me to get over the hangover of Lookout. After you finish a race, there's a part of you that just wants to sit on the couch and eat cookies.
Yes, thank
And
you
then-
for saying that.
That's the
I'm
whole
so
part
glad
of
to hear
me.
you say that.
And then there's the
Sure.
other part that's on ultra sign up, like, well, what's coming up next? What can I
Right.
sign up for? So I'm still kind of in that stage. I really struggled at Lookout, and that was hard for me. I reached a really low point in a race, and I couldn't get myself out of it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is that the lowest you've been?
Yes.
Is it scary?
It was really scary. So the race, it started out really well. I did the first 18-mile loop back to the start, and I ran with two girls from Nashville, Bridget and Katie. And we had a great pace. I felt good. And then back from the start, you do a 15-mile out and back for the last half of the race. So I did that, and I got to the point where we turned around, so around mile 32, 33, and my Achilles locked up on me. And after that, I just couldn't recover. So
Interesting.
the last section of the race from the aid station, that's the final cutoff point, is 9 miles back to the finish line. That's a long time to go without an aid station. And you're in the dark, and you're picking your feet up over all this technical trail. It reminded me a lot of Ragnar. Remember the red loop? So you couldn't really see anything. And I just got to this point where I hated running. I hated while I was out there. I was questioning why I did this. And I just could not pull myself out of it. And it was really upsetting to me. Usually I'll sit through that period for like a couple of miles, and then I'll kind of start thinking about things like, okay, well, you've done this. You've done a trail marathon in 8-degree weather, or you just finished Tunnel Hill, or you've survived childbirth. So surely you can do this. But I just couldn't pull myself out of it. And so I got really discouraged, and I don't know, it was frustrating.
Sean said the last 10 miles were uphill.
Yeah. So the last 2 were the hardest part of the race, because you're going back up to the top of the mountain, which is where the finish line is. And oddly enough, that's kind of where I pulled it together. That's where I came out of my funk, because we were going back up, and I knew it was an out and back course, but it was dark, and in my mind I thought, no, I think they've rerouted it. I think that we should be closer. I should hear the finish line, but I couldn't hear anything. And my miles on my watch kept saying 48, 49 miles. And I thought, well, we should be right there. And then we hit this section with the power lines, and I knew that I was 2 miles away. And I only had 35 minutes until cutoff.
Oh, gosh.
And so all of my miles at that point, I'd been walking. So they were 19-minute miles, 20-minute miles.
Wow.
And I said, well, you know what? I have not spent all day out here to let it go in the last 2 miles. So I just picked it up and I ran as fast as my little legs could take me. And I made it. So I made it with 12 minutes to spare.
That's
And
fantastic.
was is that the furthest, is Tunnel Hill and Lookout the
Yes.
the
those
250 milers that you've done
right.
outside of, I know at the 24-hour race you just casually did 50 miles.
Yes.
You did more than 50, didn't you?
I ended up with 52 because Garrett, the trail child, came out there and dragged us across.
I forgot about that.
Yep, they ran with the kids. I remember that.
Oh, that's funny.
So-
Yeah, the trail child.
So it was a very humbling experience.
Now, Lookout Mountain at the top is steep.
It was.
I
Yeah.
can't believe that the last 2 miles was up to the top. Whew.
It was a climb, yeah. But it was funny. My last 2 miles, one was a 12-minute mile, and one was an 11-minute. So
So now that you've been humbled by Lookout, is I kind of locked in on something you said, and it's kind of the matter of like pushing yourself and seeing what you're capable of. Like Vaughn was saying, you kind of have been cruising through some of these other distances and races, and so Lookout was something that was a challenge for you, that kind of a thing. I wonder if from here, do you try and improve on Lookout? Like, do you go back to Lookout again to try and?
I kind of, yeah, that's kind of in the back of my mind, because the whole time I kept thinking, I'm not really recovered from Tunnel Hill. It was just 5 weeks ago. I would like to see how I could do if I was.
If it was your A race and if you were fresh. And
If I came in really, really healthy. But on the other hand, in my mind, I thought, well, Tunnel Hill was a really good warm-up for Lookout. That was kind of like my peak race, and then I just tapered down to Lookout. So, but my training really wasn't where it should have been. I'd gotten kind of lazy and just hadn't stuck to it like I should have.
I'm going to make you leave here in a minute.
What guys? Do you and Sean have a coach, or do you just
No.
you just kind of wing it?
We have a book that we refer to quite a bit. It's called Relentless Forward Progress by Byron Powell, and there are several different training plans in there, and there's a lot of information about gear and how to eat on long distance races. So we always use those training plans. I've gotten another book recently called The Field Guide to Ultra Running, but the training plans in there are much more demanding.
What does your typical week look like?
Well, typically I would do 3 short runs during the week and then the 2 back-to-back long runs. And so with the short runs during the week, you have Tuesday's an easy run, and then Wednesday's like a tempo or a fast run, and then Thursday would be hills or elevation training. and then you'd have the back-to-back long
What
runs.
does a Hilsdon short run? Define what
Yeah.
that
What
means.
mileage are you
Well,
doing
it's
a
not
week?
a hill. It comes from the book.
Yeah,
You're
so
getting
it's like
out of
5 to 8 miles. But I will say that I've always been really strict. I'm very obsessive compulsive, where if I have a plan, I want to stick to it. But when I started this past training cycle for walking tall and tunnel hill, I didn't really stick to it as well as I usually do. With the kids, it seemed like somebody was always sick, or something would come up at work, so I would only get maybe 1 or 2 short training runs, and that would be 3 to 5 miles in during the week. But on the weekend, I would still stick with my plan.
And so the back-to-back runs. So you're talking about
Yes.
every week you're running Saturday and Sunday long runs?
Yes.
Like how long? Like
So it's 3-week cycle. So you have 3 weeks where you build up to a distance, and then kind of 3 weeks where you cycle down. So it could be from like 18 miles on Saturday and then 10 miles on Sunday.
wow.
Dopey training.
Or or like 15 and 10. So
I remember when I used to train like that.
I've never trained like that. I wish I could. I wish I could be more.
2012, that was my year for training like that.
but I mean, it works. But I felt better this time when I didn't try to focus on the short runs during the week. I did more cross training this time than I usually do. Usually I kind of skip out on cross training, say I'm just going to focus on running, and I always end up with some kind of overtraining injury. But I came in pretty healthy this time. Like, I felt great at walking tall. I felt great at Tunnel Hill. I just think I probably did look out a little bit too soon after Tunnel Hill.
We saw April at Olive Branch CrossFit.
I was about
Yes!
to go into the cross training side of things. How do we lock that in?
So I had a great time at CrossFit. It was a lot of fun.
How do we make that a thing? How do we make you a member of Olive Branch CrossFit?
It was just hard for my schedule because of when I have to be at the hospital. So I'm usually at the hospital between 6:15 and 6:30.
So do I need to call the hospital, or is there
Get my
someone's
schedule
number in
changed.
particular that I need to?
But yeah, I had a great time. So I went with a big group with Mark Fortune, and so
Yeah.
we had a lot of fun. I was telling Brian I was super paranoid, like, going in, because I'd seen some CrossFit competitions where the women had accidentally peed on the floor, and I was like, oh my gosh, what if that happens? And so
There's a lot of
And
publicity
we had
out
double
there.
we had double
Just a
unders in the
race.
workout that
Yes.
day when she showed up.
So
she
initially,
was more worried.
it started out fine because we were just doing back squats and front squats. I was like, oh, this is great. And it was really fun. I liked the group environment. And then we got to double unders, which I'd always heard that, but I didn't realize they were jump ropes. I'm like, what? And so I spent the rest of the time trying to cross my legs while I jump rope.
Usually, to make people feel better, Mark will just pee on the floor,
Okay.
and so then that
That's
way
good
it's
to
not
know.
so embarrassing for everyone else.
But I wanted to get my toes to the bar so bad. I've been working at that on our gym. Wilson got it, and I was so pissed off. I was like, I can do this, and I kept trying. I could not. So
Wilson's really good at toes to bar.
yeah, I was
He's
very
really
impressed.
good at a lot of things. Like he's he's a force to be reckoned with in the gym for sure.
It always I do like to watch Wilson, like when he starts like a movement like a toes to bar, because you can do like 4 or 5 and they look smooth, and you look as good as any elite athlete
Yep.
as far as your smooth and your rhythm and being efficient in your movement. And then you come off the bar and then you look like a flailing whale. After that, it's like you're just like, and you're just all, and I'm like, where like 10 seconds ago you were like this efficient machine.
Like a
The thing
flailing
is-
whale. There's a side of you that wants to be like, you know what, Swanson, just stop. Let's not even. Just save the compliment. Let's keep it at a break even.
That's what we call that backhanded compliment, right?
Counteract the dream crusher. Wilson is strong as shit.
Yeah, he is.
And so couple that with he can run. He has endurance as well. He does really well in the gym. So he's not just screwing around in there. He's doing
Oh
well.
no, there's no doubt. I think when you come off the bar and then you get back on, I think you're in your head or something like that.
He can do workouts that I can't do just because he's so strong. You know what I mean? You'll have a workout with a heavy deadlift or a press or something, and he's just like crushing it, and I'm like struggling.
Well, and that's CrossFit. That's the thing where, there's just some movements that am not good at and I probably won't be good at. And then there's sometimes the stars align and
Right,
you get
exactly.
it's in your wheelhouse. And so, that's why everybody's always kind of you're never out of the game and you're never on top of it 100%.
Right.
And that's why I like doing that so much. And, trail running, I'm way out of my element, but in the gym tends to be a little bit different.
This is why the 5400 Club exists, though, because like you're one of those guys that can go deadlift 400 plus pounds, where most of the guys that are winning those races probably can't deadlift even half that.
Yeah, and so that way I just sit at the back of the pack and keep telling myself over and over again,
I'm stronger than that
just
guy.
that. But there's nobody there to listen to. I'm like, but I'm stronger than you.
Hey, I'm stronger than you, man.
I'm
You just
stronger
keep
than
on
all of
going.
you. Damn it, I missed cutoff.
I'm still looking forward to still more this year.
I am too. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome. So nothing really scares you adventure-wise. You would do the Barkley, the real Barkley?
No, probably not. I am very navigationally challenged. I don't know if you've heard. Sean loves to joke about it, but I get lost at Shelby Forest still.
Yeah.
And we run out there all the time.
Bad in that way.
And so with Barkley, and this would be the Barkley Fall Classic, but you don't really know where you're going. They kind of give you a map and a compass, and I have no idea what either of those things mean. So I would just be totally lost. Now I would like a course that is clearly marked. But
Have you done the Barkley?
I have not. I went out there when Sean did it, and that was a really cool experience. And I saw a lot of like people that you wouldn't expect to do Barkley. I saw them finish, and then other people that look like really good, strong athletes, they just crash. So that was a really cool race to just watch and spectate.
Barkley is
at.
the kind of race you'd be good at, Wilson.
Please, I can't even find my house from my shop.
Well, but you don't have quit in you. Like you would just, as long as they're not pulling you from the course, you would keep going.
I would be just like wandering off. They'd have to put a beacon around my...
Wilson shows up in Pennsylvania like 3 weeks later. Like, I don't even know how you got here, but
That's pretty impressive that you came all this way.
on the documentary, the Barkley documentary, there's that guy that they said logged the most time, the least amount of miles and the most amount of time, and he had gotten tremendously lost, and he got 6 miles in 18 hours or something like that.
Oh, wow.
And that's what I could see myself doing. Never really getting a mile from the starting line, but being out there for a day and a half.
that's funny, Vaughn, that you say you still get lost out at Shelby Forest. I guess most of the time you run out there, it's like with somebody like me that you're just following me, right?
If you go back and think about it, majority of my trail runs have either been at races or following you. I've always said Brian's my navigator, so I can't do it.
And see, I'm like, especially a course like that. Like once I've run it once, I can run it again, even if the trail's like messed up or whatever, where the actual trail's not apparent. I can follow my way through the thing. So
I've been to Stanky Creek by myself once or twice, and I can start to handle that now. But for the majority of years, it's always been following Brian or Rob Connor, because I wouldn't know what to do out there by myself. That's terrible.
Yeah, you might as well drop me off in the Congo. You get me out, and I would die. I could die at Stanky Creek. We almost did die. We stayed out there. Ask Gary Owens about it. It got dark on us, and he was freaking, and he was like, "Do you know where you're going?" I'm like, "No," and he's like, "You're screwing me, man. You got to be screwing with me. Tell me you're screwing me." I'm like, "No, I'm not. I don't know where we're going." He's like, "You wouldn't be out here acting like this if you didn't know where you're going." I'm like, "I'm telling you, dude. I know where we're going." And we eventually wound up going in through a fence and somebody's, into a neighborhood. And then we had to find our way out of the neighborhood and find out where we are. And we were out in Bartlett at Yale and somewhere. And Gary went up. I'm watching across the street, and Gary approaches this vehicle, and he's under this street light. And he's like, yeah. And he keeps going towards him, and he's like, puts his hands up in the air, and a guy pulled a gun on him. The guy in a Jeep pulled a gun and said, "Take one more step."
Was Melissa out there with you guys?
Yeah.
She said you guys did almost die.
Yeah.
It was not good.
The thing to remember about Stanky Creek is if you can walk in the same direction, you can walk a mile in any direction, and you will end up either at a house or on a road.
That's very true. That's a strange place. You feel like you're so submersed deep in the woods.
Yeah. I
and
mean,
you never
because,
really-
and
But
the way the
yeah,
course
and I
goes,
mean,
it just
you
loops
can't-
around. I mean,
Yeah. And
So-
you can't really get lost. Like, you just keep running, and eventually you'll, end
well,
up
and so I like to go back to the first time I ever ran with you was out there at Snaky Creek on the trail.
Oh, on the parking lot. You weren't running with me.
Well, yeah.
You ran with me through the parking lot.
We all
and then y'all left.
showed up in the parking lot, and we walked over to the sign. And I said, "So here's what you're gonna do, and you're pretty much gonna just follow this." And you got on the outhouse loop, and I think you just kept making the outhouse loop
that same loop over and
over and over again. And so after the rest of us had finished, we had to go back in, and you were just happy as a clam. Once we did find you. Still just running along, but it was like
because like twice as far as I'd ever ran in my life.
and I think you ran like
13
6 miles
or
more than
something.
the rest of us.
It was either
That
10
day.
or 16. I can't remember.
I
how
want to
far
say
I went.
it was in the teens. We were out for like an 8-mile run.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like
Stanky Creek is just a bad place. It's just terrible.
Oh,
You're not
don't
gonna
like
find
it?
Amanda
Oh, no.
out there.
I ran it once and told him I'm done.
Too many routes.
Yep.
She was so mad.
Yep, I was so mad. I stumbled the entire time. Every time I'd take like one good step, I'm like, okay, I got this. I was like, I'm done. So I don't do it. I don't
So how do you
Stanky.
feel about the red loop? Sames?
Well, I'd walk the red loop because it's all climbing.
Yeah.
So I don't have to worry about that. I love Shelby Forest. That's
And
my favorite
when-
place to run.
Where were you in your trail running career when you ran Stanky Creek?
Brand
Beginning.
Yeah, see, I think that has more to do with your struggle at Stanky Creek than it being more rooty than anywhere else. I believe you have this like nightmarish memory of
do.
like these giant roots that are like 3 feet tall that you had to step over and that they kept grabbing your feet.
They
as
were
you
grabbing
walked
my
by
feet and I kept stumbling.
like all that stuff.
Because
but-
Wilson and, was it Mark? Who was it? There was 2 guys ahead of me and they just kept getting further ahead of me. So
It was me and Mark and Billy Moore.
yeah, I was very angry.
And
They
Billy-
all
Billy
separated
was
themselves.
scared.
we should
legitimately scared.
go out there and we should do the yellow loop. The yellow loop's the least rooty of the loops. And if that one doesn't suck, then you go do part of the white loop. And
Amanda
Not
has
during
made up her
race.
mind that she does not like Stanky
I
Creek.
know.
She will not be at
this
Stanky
is like
Creek.
you talking people into races. I'm trying to talk her into going
I
out there
don't
and doing a
think it's gonna
training run
happen.
with me.
I don't think it's going to happen. No, this is not like me talking in people.
This is nothing like that because you're actually successful.
It's quite the opposite of me
Success
talking.
rate is way higher.
These are people who might maybe kind of wanna. This is a woman who is not gonna.
Fair enough.
What's your bucket list? What's the biggest thing that you would like to accomplish?
Right now, I think the Levitt 100K.
Where is that?
It's in Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Okay.
So part
I
of
thought that
it's-
sounded
yeah.
familiar.
The lake, I think it's Lake Wachita, Vista, and then I don't know what the I stands for, and then Trail. That's what the Levitt is. So Dawn was actually looking at that one, but she decided to do Sillamore because it's the week before.
Now say that again. Wachita, Vista, and something.
It's LOVITT. So LO is Lake Wachita, VI is Vista.
Oh,
And then, that's what the I is. It's VI for Vista, right?
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And then TT, I don't know.
Trail.
Trail
trail time.
Trail time, bitches.
I don't know. I don't know.
So
Sorry.
right now, that's the race I'm looking at. I don't really think about the bucket list races. I just kind of, just start cruising along, ultra sign up and see what pops up and what looks interesting. Savage Gulf Marathon. Do you know about that one? That
That's close
one
to home, too.
looks amazing. I talked to a girl who did that this weekend, and she said it's the hardest trail marathon that is in the South. It's one of the hardest ones. But
Oh, really?
She said
Wow.
So
it's
it's
beautiful.
26.2.
It is,
Or
but it's
26-ish.
large boulders, and I think there's a really, really small finisher rate. So that's kind of on my list too. That one's in
Challenge
March.
accepted.
Never ran out there.
Sounds
I've done
fun.
4-wheelers out there, but not running.
Is it Fiery Gizzard? Is that the park?
That sounds right.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. So there's a piece of the course that's called the Stone Doors, and it's these stone steps that lead up to a rock formation, and that's what the park is known for. So it looks beautiful, but it's definitely a hard course. So I don't know if I would finish it or not, but I think it's kind of worth the effort.
Insurance Bluff's out there too. For people who run their cars off the side of the
Oh,
mountain.
nice.
That's crazy. And you guys are doing Fall Creek Falls, right? That one looks really pretty.
Are you gonna
Oh,
do
it's
that?
beautiful.
I don't know because it's the week before Savage Gulf. So probably not. I just try not to overtrain. But sometimes, a lot of these races count as your training. Like if I do Levitt, then I would do Swamp Stomper as one of my training races.
Do you have any interest in like OCR races, the obstacle course racing?
I don't think I'd be very good at it. I would like to try one, but I don't know if I'd be very good. I'm not very coordinated at all. Like I've never been athletic.
That surprised me. I don't know that I believe that. Because when you came into CrossFit the other day, you were squatting, and I was like, God, that figures that she would be good at that also. Like I was kind of hoping there's a side of me that was like, she's so good at running, at least she'll be coming into a little bit more like my domain.
Let me help you.
And then there she is, and it's like, I'm not even going to speak to her.
Looking like
I act
she's
like I
been
don't even
squatting
know
all
her.
the time.
Yeah. So I just figured you're probably highly coordinated.
No, I really suck at swimming, if that makes you feel any better. I know you're a good swimmer.
I can swim.
So I've been working on it for a couple of months, and I've just now gotten to the point where I can swim down one end of the pool and then swim back.
Really?
Yes. So before I'd swim down, and then I'd have to do the backstroke back, or sometimes I would just stop in the middle of the pool and take a break.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I could swim like 10 meters maybe.
Will
It's
you do a
hard.
triathlon?
No, probably not.
No.
The open water really freaks me out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's most
That's a
people's issue.
huge barrier for people.
Yeah.
I don't think that I realize how I have an understanding, but I can't say that I know what that feels like, but you can see the fear in
Yeah.
people's eyes, and you do get out there, and that would be a bad deal.
Well, that's
if
the
you-
thing I
that's
keep
scary.
saying about triathlons. It's like when, it's running, biking, swimming, right? So when you're running, you get tired, you stop and walk. When you're biking, you just quit pedaling and coast. And, worst case, you put your feet on the ground because you're not moving anymore. But there ain't no stopping once you're out there in the middle of that water. Like,
Yeah.
You're going to have to doggy paddle or something to stay afloat. It's
Yeah, that really scared me when I did the one we did a couple years ago. So then I was going to do the Rebel Man or whatever, the Rebel, and then they changed it to a biathlon or whatever it was.
yeah, I think they got rid of it.
And I was
Oh.
like, well, dang, because that was a pool. So at
Right.
least you could like hang on to something or go to
Sure,
the edge
sure.
and hold on.
You could cheat. You could put your feet down and
See, that's my kind of triathlon right there. That's
do
the
that.
open water was scary. There's people swimming all over the top of me. And
Yeah, and I hear you get punched, and it's all.
Yeah, you get kicked and punched and
I would like
Scary.
to try. I think I would like to try an untimed Ironman event, like probably not open water, but I think it would be fun to just
do one in a pool.
or open shallow water with a current and a raft. I don't know that I really want to do that. I'm talking.
So you're going to sign up for an Ironman? Is that what you're saying?
there you go. Chattanooga 2019 Ironman.
Augusta half opened up, registration opened up today.
No way. No way. We're out of time.
We are out of time, but this is
Womp,
fun.
womp,
Yeah.
womp.
I wonder if Sean's okay. He's been unattended, unsupervised for a long time now.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about the
Does
kids.
he adult well
He's
with
asleep
kids?
in there probably.
he probably is. Yep. Andy Kate's probably fed all the children and probably changed them into their pajamas.
You're gonna go in there. Sean's gonna have like a bib on. And he's gonna have ketchup on the corner of his mouth, and Andy took care of him.
Yeah.
It's so nice having you.
Yes,
Thank
thank you very
Thanks
much.
for,
Thanks for
having
coming.
me.
Thanks for taking the time to do this. Y'all are awesome people. We got to get Sean back on the podcast to talk about Sean and Brian to talk about the
Next iteration.
Big Hill Pond
Yep.
Walking Tall Part 2, 2019.
Real quick, before you sign off, Steve Wilk just said, Wilson Horrell, congrats on registering for the Chattanooga Ironman.
Lift
Awesome.
Heavy Run Long number 128 is in the books.
Bye.